People in West Africa are starting to live better than people in the Western world.
Wow. Wow. I'm so grateful that yet another white man found his way to TikTok to lecture the rest of the world about West Africa or even Africa in particular, because Africa is a fucking country, right? If you know one, you have seen it all. I'm so glad that because there are no African people to tell us about the beauty and the standard and the history and the culture and the necessities about the African continent. There are no people. There are no African people that have been telling us this for centuries. So I am so glad that yet another white man made his way to TikTok to tell us the truth. I'm so fucking glad. I mean, it would be absolutely insane, to assume that people on the African continent have always lived better life. It would be absolutely insane to know that, looking at the fact that democracy came from Africa, that there were literal kingdoms on the African continent, which by the way consists of 54 different countries, but let's not. No need, he's a white man, right? We should be grateful he tells the world about Africa, right? So these are minor details that it's not as if the generalization of the African continent contributes to the lack of individuality for African people, both at home and in the diaspora, but who am I to call that out? After all, we should be grateful, right? That a foreigner comes to the African continent to tell the world about the greatness and beauty of the African continent. We have no Africans to tell us that, right? That is why we always need a foreigner to tell our stories, right? I'm so glad they keep on doing that over and over again. As if the whitewashing of history for 600 plus years wasn't enough, you know? I'm so glad they still do it in modern day times. I mean, who would have ever thought that the system of capitalism, which was built on the backs of Black people, Indigenous people, and people of color in the Western world, is actually completely inhuman, and Africans have always known better? Who would have known that, societies actually cared for one another, because that has been practiced on the African continent for thousands of years? I'm so glad a white man is teaching us and lecturing us about the truth that the same white people have been hiding from us all along. I mean, it would be absolutely insane. It would be insane to think that there are Africans, that have been telling us about the beauty of the African continent, that have been talking about our cultures, the history, and especially the way it was taken away. It was whitewashed, it was erased, it was Europeanized to make it fit a certain narrative. It was hidden from the world to make Africans look like this barbaric, uncivilized, lesser humans that need the help of the white man. Even now in 2024, we still need the white man to tell the world how beautiful, civilized, and social African countries on the African continent are you know so it's kind of ironical when history keeps on repeating itself, and white people are just dwelling in their white saviorism and mansplaining and whitesplaining the world to everybody but their own people and their own selves. It's not as if Africans have not been knowing this shit for fucking centuries. But thank God the white man now finally said it, right? No, let's go. Give the white man clicks, because after all, he explained it so well. He's so well spoken, right? And he has made the effort to travel from his home country all the way to Africa. There is no need to mention the country he went to. There's also no need to mention that there are multiple countries in Western Africa alone. Why would you give Africans that benefit of being individuals? Why would you give Africans that benefit of being individual societies that have different cultures, values, and morals? Why would you just say Africa, right? Because 1 point something billion people, they are all Africans. But well, a white man did it, right? Also, I don't know the reference about starting to live better than, because, I don't know how to break this to you, but societies have been flourishing in Africa until, and the whole of the African continent, until Europeans brought their misery onto the continent. Until they brought slavery, colonialism, murder, killing, invasion, until they sliced Africa like a cake in the 1884 Berlin Conference, literally ripping cultures, ripping people apart just because they felt this was supposed to be Ghana and this is Tunisia and this is Ethiopia and this is Tanzania, because, no need to ask Africans for their consent or anything like that. So I don't know the part about us starting to live better than, because as far as I'm concerned and as far as historical facts go, Africans have always not only been better people but lived better lives. But a white man said it, right?